गैसलाइट ये ऐसा टर्म है जो मतलब ट्विटर डिस्कोर्स पे हमें बहुत ज़्यादा देखने को मिलता है एंड मैरियम वेबस्टर हैड ऑल्सो डिक्लेयर्ड द वर्ड ऑफ द ईयर वंस. सो एंड इट्स डेफिनेशन इज क्वाइट कॉम्प्लेक्स. मतलब ऑन द फेस ऑफ इट ये होता है कि ओके you're being gaslighted essentially if someone is deliberately lying to you in a way कि आप अपने ही वर्जन ऑफ इवेंट्स को क्वेश्चन करने लगो या अपनी रियलिटी को क्वेश्चन करने लगो. And that real life horror is something director Pavan Kirpalani has brought to his latest film. Hi, I am Pratiksha and you're watching my review of Gaslight. Gaslight का premise ये है कि मीशा played by सारा अली खान अपने पापा से उसको एक लेटर मिलता है which is like घर आ जाओ हमारा रिश्ता हम सुधार लेंगे, I am sorry for what happened, something on the lines of that, and she decides sure, why not. Now we find out that Misha had an accident at some point earlier in life and that's why she's confined to a wheelchair. When Misha reaches this Haveli kind of location, she is welcomed by her stepmother, जो अभी I think essentially वहाँ की महारानी है, रुक्मिनी, played by चित्रांगदा सिंह. अब we find out that उनके relationship में थोड़े stresses हैं because Misha blames रुक्मिनी for her family falling apart or her parents' separation, yada yada. We find out that the idea that she has of her father might be different from the idea that others have of her father since वो इतने सालों से कहीं और रहती थी. She has missed out on a lot of family gossip if you will. Now we also find out कि इस सब में her dad is not there. So now what she has to do is figure out कि उसके पापा मर्जी से कहीं चले गए या कुछ हुआ है and are people around her lying to her. उसी टाइम पे ऐसे रात को visions आ रहे हैं, she is seeing someone in the Haveli, jump scares are happening, people are running around, they're scaring her, a lot is going on basically. Now within this premise, Pavan Kirpalani has essentially written a pretty good story, right? So the jump scares work pretty well. वो मतलब if you're not someone who is very much used to horror, I feel like the jump scares will come at good places, that they'll come at good times and they might have their necessary effect. We know that Pavan Kirpalani is a pretty good horror filmmaker, especially from Phobia. Phobia was an amazing film. उसमें भी ऐसा ही था कि एक real life horror, if you will, was taken and put into the cinematic universe. If I'm not wrong, the person suffers from agoraphobia and then we see how her visions also kind of translate into real life. वो सब होता रहता है and it's a pretty enjoyable thriller. So the man clearly has a grasp on horror and वो दिखता है इसमें भी. And there are places where he uses like very famous paintings by like Goya and Vermeer to kind of showcase the emotions जो वो फिल्म में दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. It's something that, you know, I guess only shows up if you know, Google and go frame by frame. But it was fun. It was a little fun little exercise to do during watching the film. Now Sara Ali Khan as a performer in the film, there is a little to desire, little left to desire क्योंकि she's good, she's okay, she's giving her, like she's playing the role well, she's you know, saying the dialogues fine, but when the film stakes rise, I feel like her performance doesn't rise to match those stakes, तो वो थोड़ा सा problem होता है. The issue again with Vikrant Massey, who is also in the film as the estate agent called Kapil, is that we've seen him do this before, like it's been done before, so वो he doesn't stand out in the film at all because you know okay, this is what we have to expect from him. His role in Haseen Dilruba actually was much better than what he has done in this film. Chitrangda Singh, however, gets a pretty decent role. She gets a pretty meaty role. I'm sure मतलब you want her to do more. मन करता है कि अच्छा इस रोल में और थोड़ा ज़्यादा कुछ होता है और थोड़ा अगर हम उनके motives को explore करते या उनकी life को explore करते तो अच्छा लगता. But she does a pretty good job. जब उनको second half में especially emotionally बहुत heavy role play करना होता है, then she shines in the film. Like she does a very good job at that part. ठीक है, उसमें भी there are some places where she falters, but overall it's a pretty enjoyable performance. My main issue with the film is that it is a smart story that's not executed very smartly, especially जो climax वाला scene होता है ना, उसमें it feels predictable. Some of the मतलब loophole, not the loophole, some of, what do you say, the twists and turns, if you will, that come pehle are also a little predictable if you've seen the genre a lot. But the climax especially doesn't hold as strongly as the story does. It's like having this wonderful sweater जो ऐसे last knot पे बिखर जाता है, and that I think is what left me feeling a little dissatisfied. Ragul Dharuman does the cinematography for this. I think he's the DOP, and उनका ऐसा Game of Thrones type lens है शो पे, and that's a little too dark in some sequences. पता नहीं चलता कि हो क्या रहा है, and that's not in a like adds to the suspense kind of way, क्योंकि like suspense है but दिखना तो चाहिए ना कुछ. But otherwise, the frames that he puts in the screen are beautiful. Some of the frames are gorgeous. It's just this one lighting, like this desaturated thing that is the problem. But overall, a pretty good job. The haunting kind of background score by Gaurav Chatterjee is also pretty well done. Like it matches the film very well. कहीं पे भी ऐसा नहीं लगता कि oh, it's seeming out of place. Sometimes they use like typical horror cliche soundscape kind of things, but ठीक है, it's a part of the genre. We also have, I guess, a very crisp edit by Chandan Arora, which helps the film a lot. Gaslight at the end of the day, उसका premise बहुत अच्छा है. The story setup is pretty good, but वो कहीं properly execute होके जा नहीं पाता है. And that's a pity क्योंकि the film is pretty decent, पर वो जो ऐसे छोटी मोटी बातें हैं ना, and especially the climax, the way it unravels, like I said, hurts the film pretty much. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's a decent thriller. I feel like it's a good one-time watch क्योंकि Pavan Kirpalani has this great eye for horror. But especially because now it's such a mixed bag as a film, you know, because the climax, man, it's like for this genre, it's genre definer as a sort, you know, when you see the climax. And for that reason, my rating for Gaslight is 2.5 stars out of 5.